Hi, my name is Andrew Tate, and I'm one of the passionate few.
How do most tech companies make money today? They give away a free product and they use your personal information.
You are the product.
You are the product, that's right. So you use Facebook or you use Instagram, you use a free product and they get personal information about you and your habits. And they take that information and they monetize it. So the logical extension of that fact would be that the more information they obtain about you, the better they will be at monetizing that information. So that means that large companies are trying their very best to know everything about you. The harder they survey you, the better their surveillance, the more profitable they will be. And companies' primary objective is to be as profitable as possible, meaning that tech companies and large companies, by extension, which are basically government, because government have their fingers in all of them, want to spy on you as much as possible. The reason they want to do that is to build a pattern of your behavior. And they use that pattern of your behavior to predict how you're going to spend money, or predict how they can make you spend money. If we show him this type of advert at this time for this length of time, he's more likely to spend than if we don't, because of all the other millions of people who fit his profile, this was the most reactive type of advertisement. If you accept all of that to be true, then you must accept the next logical extension to that, which means if they have all this information on your patterns and how they can make money from you, they must be trying to change your patterns. They must have pattern A type of person who is worth $11.59 and pattern B type of person who is worth $9.22. How do we make the pattern B people act like the pattern A people? What do they do different? How can we change the algorithm or the app to make the pattern Bs be more like the pattern As so we can make more money? If the goal of a business is forever profit, they want a forever survey and they want an ideal customer. And if they understand your patterns of behavior, they must be trying to influence your patterns of behavior. The next logical extension to that is we're living in a world where not only are we being spied on with absolutely everything, every single thing we use is trying to change us and change how we think and change how we act. In fact, it must be true. Every day, the government passes new laws. Every week, every month, whatever. Have you ever seen the government take a law away? So over time, they just get more and more and more and more control. They don't take laws away, they just add new ones on top. Where does that end? If you have 100 marbles and I take one away every day, it ends at 0. It doesn't matter if it takes a while, but that's where we end up, right? So the governments are all going to try and end up with us in some form of slavery. You can call it communism, you can call it something else. But this money matrix, you're talking about surveillance capitalism, I don't think that's far off communism anyway. I don't think anybody, you're right, we have no free and fair markets, we have no freedom of speech. We just talked about the freedom of society and how garbage that is. Democracy is a scam, that's a lie, because they influence and control the media, if the voting machines work. If you had two teams playing basketball for $100 and there was no referee, then people would end up cheating and breaking the rules to try and win. And that's for $100, that's human nature. So imagine how they're going to cheat and break the rules to control the most powerful nation on earth in an election. So the government comes along and decides to give out free money. The average person in the middle or at the bottom goes, wait, free money, government cares about the poor person. No, they don't. Let's imagine, let's keep it very simple. Let's say they gave every person in the UK £1,000. They're either going to save that money or they're going to spend that money, or they're going to, let's say, invest that money. If they spend that money, which is what 90% of them would do, it goes to corporations, making the corporations filthy rich. The stock price of Amazon during COVID went to the moon because everyone's sitting at home bored, just buying stuff, right? So there's less corporations than there are people. So let's say you give everyone in the UK £1,000. A lot of that money goes to one guy, Jeff Bezos. The rich get richer, just like before. Let's say they invest it. Well, they're going to invest it in what? The stock market? Well, that increases the share price of companies. Who owns companies? Rich people. Let's say for somehow 200 of these people are best friends and they're never going to argue, and they get together and they get £200,000 and they buy a house, for example. That's still going to raise the price of housing on that street. The house owners, the homeowners are gonna get richer. The people who already own things, the asset owners are always gonna get richer. No matter what you do, the people who are poor are always gonna get poorer and the asset owners are always gonna get richer.
Yeah.
And also what I was saying earlier about property being a tool to the matrix, if you buy a 10 or $20 million property under a government, you can't piss that government off. You can't disagree with that government. You can't, if the tax authority of that government says you owe them money, you better fucking pay it. Or you're gonna lose a house, right?
Yeah.
If they say you better take an injection in your arm for the good of society, you better take your vaccine. You better put your mask on. You can't even get a parking ticket, my G. Listen, if I'm in England right now, I don't own any assets in England, right? And I pull up in the DBS. Have you ever seen James Bond look for parking? Me neither. No, fuck no. He parks up and gets out. That's what I do. Park up, boom, get out. I don't look for parking. They put a ticket on the DBS. Let's say I decide not to pay that, right? What are they going to do? I don't have any assets in the UK. They're going to make a bunch of letters, send it to a bailiff. Bailiff's going to drive around the UK. I don't even live here. Boom, it's over, right? If I had a 20 million pound house, eventually it's going to go, the 60 pound becomes 120, 120 becomes 240.
Yeah,
bailiff comes, 2 grand, 3 grand, boom, boom, boom. Gets to the point where they're going to take my 20 million pound house off me. Maybe it takes 3 years, but they will, over a parking ticket. So by buying that property, you're now giving you're giving the government a way to hurt you. You're giving them a leverage over you. And I'm at the point of wealth now. I have enough hidden money where I don't want any government to have any leverage over me. I want a government to say, Andrew, we don't like you. And me say, get fucked. Power is a funny thing. And most people who have power in their lives don't understand exactly how power works. And power is a fantastic thing to wield, but there's always a line. And once you overstep that line, you have a difficult choice. So we can apply it to, let's say, a government. If you're a government, you have power. If people start to riot, you can send the riot police. That's fine. But if people continue to riot and you continue to be more and more draconian and you send the riot police to, let's say, shoot at unarmed people in a crowd, like they did in Romania in 1989, for example, once you overstep the line with power, people no longer trust you with power. Once they don't trust you with power, you have mass rebellion and things must change. People who've been in charge of information for a very long time had the power, but it got to the point where after lying to everybody for 3 years, nobody trusts them with the power anymore. You can't decide what I get to read because I trusted you to decide what was good and bad for me and you completely ruined it. I always knew that the Matrix existed, and I always knew that the traditional systems and
From
the
what age
traditional...
did you know?
Say again?
From what age did you know?
I always knew.
Okay.
I just knew. Even when I was going to school and they're sitting there going, you're not going to get a good job if you don't get good grades. I was the one sitting there going, you're a liar. Shut up. I just knew the teacher was lying. I knew school was bullshit. I knew college was bullshit. I knew university was a lie. I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now. But I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're in a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I'm going to university. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, investing in yourself, especially learning from somebody who is already doing what you want to do, is not risky. And you're right. The people who believe that's risky are just stuck deep inside the matrix. Because you're right, they're going to pay 60, 70,000 pounds for a degree from university, which is one, completely useless. And secondly, it's always kind of been amazing to me. If I want to go learn kickboxing, I expect my coach to be able to fight. If I want to go learn piano, I want to see my piano teacher play piano. Yeah. But people will go to university and learn business from a dude who's never had a business, who's broke. It's just like, it's clown world. It's stupid. Well, if you speak to the people you know who have the most money and go up to them and say, hey, what made you rich? None of them say school. Do any of them say school made me rich? I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a shit? It's bullshit, right? Facial recognition cameras on every single corner, 15-minute CEs, electric cars, which can turn off if you try and drive into the wrong area. That's why they want everyone to go electric. Nothing to do with the environment. That's bullshit. So they can turn your car off. That's why they want you to have an electric car. If I get in my Ferrari, you can't turn it off. You got to chase me down, sir. Good luck, police. You got to catch me. I'm good. But if you're an electric car, they just say, what's his serial number? Boop, turn off the car, keep the doors locked. He was wrong thinking. Facial recognition on every corner, like I said. 15-minute cities, like I said. They'll control your money. They'll control where you go. They'll control if you can fly or not. They'll control your food. The AI is going to be a little camera in the corner linked to your mobile phone and your national ID from the digital system. And you're not even going to see a cool robot. And AI is already going to wreck your life. Most people don't realize that PSYOPs are built on a very long time scale. People imagine PSYOP as you watch a 30-minute movie and then your brain's been changed and you've been brainwashed. That's not how PSYOPs work. Brainwashing works over the passage of time, and it works with the slow and gradual normalization of ideas. I'll give you an example. You just talked about how 60 years ago, if you told somebody that a man could be a woman could be a man, that would be insane. Now we will sit here and still say it's insane, but there's a large subsect of the population who would sit here and argue with us. Our grandchildren will not think it's insane at all. They'll think it's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
And as much as we try our best to fight against it, and as much as we try our best to resist the tide of darkness, it's going to come and they are going to win.
Yeah.
So when they put these psyops in order, they think generationally. As you said earlier, because I like to reference back, you talked about these families that been control for a very long time. Well, they're thinking about the world their grandchildren are going to inherit. And if they want to purport an idea which is negative for the society because it benefits them, they're going to think, I may not see the benefits of it, but Rothschild number 89, he will. So we'll just put the psyop over a long enough period of time. That's what they do. I feel like I have freedom of speech in Saudi Arabia, which is a very controlled country. But I feel like I have freedom of speech because I don't want to say the things I'm not allowed to say. I don't want to insult God, and I don't want to promote transgenderism. So I feel like everything I say is allowed to be said, so I feel free. Whereas in America, the things I do want to say are taboo. They're not allowed. So I feel like I'm very constrained, which is where you get these ideological differences when people say, but America's a free country, you can say whatever you want. Well, you're saying what they want you to say. That's why you feel like it's free. But if you start saying the things they don't want you to say, you start to realize it's not free at all. And it's kind of interesting that America is built on this idea of freedom. The Western world's built on this idea of freedom where most other nations aren't. Other nations are built on the idea of God or the idea of patriotism. We've lost that. And we're saying you don't have to believe in God or any type of God. You don't have to even be patriotic. You can hate this place, but you're free to do whatever. And that's a very interesting scam, because to try and hold a scam like that up, how do you make people feel free when they're not allowed to say the things that you don't want them to say? The only way you can do that is by allowing them to be free to do stupid shit. So you say, we're based on freedom. We don't want them to realize they can't say anything important. So to keep the lie of freedom alive, let's tell them they can change genders. Because you can't do that in most other places. So what they do is they push insanity and say, you're free to be an idiot. And they push that so they can keep the freedom scam alive, because you're free to be an idiot, but you're not free to be smart. You're not free to understand how it works. You're not free to tell the truth. You're not free to try and protect your family. You're not free to try and have your own land and your own family and do the right thing. You're not free to do any of that. You're only free to do the dumb shit that they don't see as a threat, so they can keep their freedom scam alive. Yes, I've been offered to shut up.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, which
I've been
is crazy.
offered to shut up.
Yeah.
And many people don't understand that this is how selling your soul works, because I've tweeted before, if they ever kill me, the details on exactly how they asked me to sell my soul will be released. And that's true. But what they effectively do, I'll give you the very sanitized version. They come along with a sponsorship contract. And they come and say, look, we're going to pay you $50 million. Your official opinions are X, Y, and Z. You don't talk about this. You're going to wear these clothes and you're going to act this way. And you're going to laugh when they make certain jokes about this certain haram crap. And you're going to be this kind of little fruity idiot like all the liberals are. And you're going to get paid all this money. And if anyone asks you about these things, you're going to say this, this, and this. And we're going to protect you. And they don't say we're going to protect you. What they say is, don't worry, we have huge partners in the media, so we'll make sure that any story before it comes out, we can see it in advance and we can give our own reply. Basically saying, we'll make sure the media says good things about you. We'll pay you money and you're going to have this opinion. And that's how you sell your soul. And then you join the machine. And now I'm guessing, because I said no, I'm guessing that's the beginning of it, because then you get invited to the industry parties, right? If I would have sold my soul, I'd be at the Grammys.
Yeah.
I would have never got arrested. I'd be at the Grammys. I would have gone to an after party at the Grammys. Fucking Trevor Noah or whoever else would be doing something fucking haram in the corner with fuck knows who. I'd be in the same room. It'd be on camera. Boom. Then they got me blackmailed. I'm paranoid. I don't trust this stuff. I don't want to go near these people. I don't want to hang around with them. I don't do any of the weird shit they do. Every 5 minutes, a sex tape's coming out about some celebrity. Some dude, some fucking guy has his dick out every 5 minutes. Why would you do that if you're a celebrity, unless it's all purposeful or it's set up or they want something on you? It's all a scam. So when I instantly refused, and I think that's what upset them the most, was my instant refusal. When I was offered this contract, and I'm not going to say who it's from because I don't want to die yet. And I said no. And they're like, oh, well, your lawyer, do you want to send it to your lawyer? No. I've just read that I need to have official opinions. The answer is no. It was only a few months after that I ended up in a jail cell. Everything's a lie. It's all a lie. Don't believe it. Everything they tell you is a lie. Money doesn't work the way they tell you it works. School doesn't work the way they tell you it works. The things they tell you to do to get rich, like get a mortgage and just pay that off after you pay off all your student debts, is never going to make you rich. Everything about geopolitics is a lie. We don't need to kill all the people in Yemen for no reason. It's all a lie. It's all an attack on your masculinity. It's all a lie. So what do we have besides God?